All right, let us continue with our previous discussion. Now we talk about a few examples that are brought in your examination around the basic foundation of trigonometry. So in this case, we have two examples here. We have two examples where example number two, we have given that cos theta is given by 8 out of 10 or all over 10, and theta is an acute angle. Find without using calculators. Now, in this case, it is important for you to understand. It is important for you to understand that an acute angle is an angle that is less than 90 degrees. So the conversation we are talking about here, if we have to draw a triangle, we have to deal with those angles that are less than 90 degrees. So let me first of all draw a half piece of what was extracted in the first triangle, which were bigger. So in this case, we are told get the values of sine theta and the value of sine 90 minus theta. And the values of sine 90 minus theta. So in this case, when you find something like this, it is very basic for you to understand that you can use both triangles, but the most in this case, because we have 90 minus theta, it's good to focus on the triangle where you can use the isosceles one or equilateral one. So in this case, let us solve A. If we have to solve a solution, we have solution, we have solution. In this case, we have a triangle. We have to draw our triangle. We have to draw a triangle. Then from this triangle, we have to give it a theta here. We have to give theta, of course. And if this one is theta, remember, this one being an isosceles triangle, you understand that this angle and this angle are complementary. Because from here, we already know that we have 90, such that these two angles add up to 90, and this angle is 90 perpendicular given by the sign here, given by this sign. Now, from this point, we know that this is theta. So if this is theta, we have been told that cos theta is given by 8 out of 10 or 8 all over 10. If it is given by 8 all over 10, we are going to have theta, cos is adjacent of a hypotenuse. So we already know that the adjacent is 8 because we know that this is the adjacent. Then the hypotenuse is 10. Then the hypotenuse is 10 because it is the longer height. Then from there, it is a very basic for you to understand, because remember, when we talk about Pythagoras theorem for learners doesn't revolve a very big numbers. We talk about 3, 4, 5, and we talk about maybe 12, 5, 12, and 13. So in this case, probably it's good to check. If you divide this one by 2, we are going to have 5. If you divide by 2 there, we are going to have 5. And if you divide by 2 here, we are going to have 4. So ideologically, you already know that here, if we have 4 here and 5 here, automatically the other one is going to be 3. But remember, you don't write 3. You don't write 3. What you do, if to get the basic value of that length was through division, you multiply. So you have identified that the relationship is 3, 4, 5. So in this case, we have divided by 2. We are going to multiply. So we know the value is 3. You multiplied by 2. We are going to have it as 6. So this side is going to be 6 automatic. But it's good to do it mathematically so that the teacher can be able to find a reason to give you an answer or a mark for that. So in this case, we are going to have, if you use Pythagoras theorem, we are going to say that Pythagoras theorem is a squared plus b squared, which is equals to c squared. Pythagoras theorem is a squared plus b squared, which is equals to c squared. Then from here, we already have 10 here, and we already have b which is 8. So we don't have a squared. So in this case, if we square this one, we are going to have our a squared plus 64 is equals to 10 squared, which is 100. Then you put like terms together. Putting like terms together, we are going to have a squared equals to 100 minus 64. At this time, we already know that if we cross the equal sign, minus changes to plus and plus changes to minus. So I hope we are together in that. Then in this case, we're going to have a squared equals to 36. So to get the value of A is getting the square root of both sides. We already know that the square root of 36 is 6. So in this case, we are going to have our 6 as we had done it in a simpler way. But that one is a secret that you're not supposed to tell anybody. In fact, it is not mathematical. We just use our common sense to get those values. So in this case, look, we already know that the value of this height is 6. So what is sine theta? When you talk about sine theta, if we talk about sine theta here, we are talking about this theta that we gave. Sine is given by opposite of a hypotenuse. Is given by opposite of a hypotenuse. Now, what is the opposite of theta here? The opposite of theta here is 6 and the hypotenuse is 10. So the value of the sine theta in question A is given by 6 all over 10. Is given by 6 all over 10. Let us solve B. Let us solve B. Now, when we are solving B, B is talking about tan 90 minus theta. We're talking about tan 90 minus theta. Automatically, remember, if this is 90 and this is theta, the other one is given by 90 minus theta, because if they are complementary angles, those two thetas, when you add them together, they are going to give you 90. So automatically, this is the value, or this is the angle where we're talking about tan 90 minus theta. Because if you take tan 90 or 90 minus theta plus theta, this one should give you 90 degrees. Do we need to prove? Yes, let's try. So we're talking about 90 degrees minus theta plus theta. Of course, this one and this one will cancel each other. So you're going to have 90 degrees. So this is the angle where we are talking about 90 minus theta. Then from there, we proceed. So we already know that this is the angle that we are talking about. So what is tan theta? Tan theta is given by opposite over hypotenuse. So what is the opposite of this angle? The opposite of this angle is going to be 8 all over 6, which is the adjacent. So we have 8 all over 6. 8 all over 6. A good mathematician cannot leave an answer in this form, so you must simplify. So by simplification, we are going to have by 2, 4, by 2, 3. So we are going to have 4 all over 3, which is equals to 1 all over 3. So that is the value of tan 90 minus theta. That is the value of tan 90 minus theta. I hope you were following well. Let us talk about this example. Sorry, this one is supposed to be example 3. This one is supposed to be example 3. This one is supposed to be example 3. So in example 3, we have given that tan y degrees is given by 0.75. And y is an acute angle again. And y is an acute angle. Remember, even here they had told us that theta is an acute angle. So in this case, tan y degrees is an acute angle. We already know that if it is 0.5 and we know y is an acute angle, then it means if we use the same criteria, we are going to get our answer. How do we do it? We already know that if tan y degrees is given by 0.75, we can write it as 75 over 100. 0.75 can be written as 75 over 100. Again, it is still wise if we simplify. If we simplify here, we are going to have by 25, 3. We simplify by 25, 4. So our tan is 3 over 4. So this one again is giving us still a blueprint of what is happening here. So let us draw our triangle. Let us draw our previous triangle and see how we can use the tan that has been given to us to get the value. Let us use our triangle. So drawing our triangle again, and this one is that one is theta. Drawing our triangle, tan theta is given by opposite over adjacent. Remember, this is the opposite. So in this case, you already know that this one is 3, this one is 4. Of course, this one will be 5. Very easy. So in this case, we already know that This is the y, but you have given it as beta. But it is good to write it formally, which should be y degrees. Y degrees. So now, in this case, we already know that tan y is given by 4 all over, 3 all over 4, because this is the opposite, the other one is the adjacent. Then from there, what we are going to do, we are going now to solve the value. We are told that y is an acute angle, so it's an angle that is less than 90. So in this case, we are talking about these two angles. We are talking about these two angles. So this one can also be 90 minus y degrees, because this one is y degrees. This one can also be 90 minus y degrees. Then from there, what do we do? We solve the question. We are talking about value. We are talking about value of, you're talking about the value of cos y degrees. When you talk about cos y degrees, we are going to have, what is cos? Cos is given by adjacent over hypotenuse. So cos y degrees is given by adjacent over hypotenuse. Given by adjacent over hypotenuse. So if it has to be given by adjacent over hypotenuse, we are going to have what is the adjacent? The adjacent here is 4, hypotenuse is 5. So the answer here, or the value of cos y, is 4 all over 5. The value of cos y is 4 all over 5. Again, when you interpret these questions using the triangles, they become very easy. They become very easy to understand, to solve, and to get the marks correct. So it is important for you to be very careful as you interpret. It is very important for you to understand the equilateral triangle and the isosceles triangle, so that you can be able to appropriate or to proportionate the 2 units and 1 unit, so that you can interpret trigonometric foundation or trigonometric values easily and in an easy way to understand. Otherwise, I hope you are understanding. I hope you have understood what we have done. Now let us proceed to the third section of these trigonometric ratios, where we are going to talk about we are going to talk about the complementary aspect of trigonometric ratios. So follow for the third part. Thank you.